Well, welcome back to the channel. I'm sorry I've been a little absent. I planned on taking 9 days off to do some hunting and ended up with 6 days, but that's a whole lot better than nothing. But anyway, I'm back. Y'all can imagine my workload had backed up on me because it didn't want to wait. Oh, so I've been going non-stop, but I finally got a few minutes here to sit down and record a video. I'm going to do it just a little bit different. Instead of just going through scripture, today I've got a topic, and this is something I want to talk about: pride. And it's something my dad always talked about struggling with, something I've struggled with my entire life. So I'm going to read a little bit of scripture just to kind of reference what and see what God thinks about pride. So basically by pride, what I mean is, exalting oneself, lifting oneself, that feeling, that attitude that I can do anything, I don't need any help. Maybe I'm better at everything than anybody else, I don't need any help. Different things like that. You can go back to the original sin was Satan in heaven developed a prideful attitude and felt he could be God or greater than God. That's where pride is nothing new. It's always been around, always will be around. So I'm gonna read. I got a little outline here. I'm gonna kind of go back and forth and read. I'm very tired, so I really didn't want to say something I would have to go back and edit out and re-record. So, like I said, pride, I'm just going to go through some notes here. Pride blinds us. It lifts our hearts up. It quietly pulls us away from God. In the Bible, God doesn't play around with pride in the Bible. It says he actually hates pride. Like Proverbs chapter 6, verse 16 and 17, he says these 6 things the Lord hates, and a proud look. Pride makes a heart believe it no longer needs God. Pride replaces surrender with self-reliance. It makes a person the center of their own universe. Anytime we try to play God, our world is going to fall apart, because we're not God. And even if we confess with our mouth that we love God, we serve God, we can still be prideful. That's something I've always got to be very careful with. So Proverbs 16:18 says, pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before the fall. Pride, go back to, even now, but at 40 years old, I don't really have, working for myself, I don't have a boss. I really don't have anybody giving me correction. I would say I have friends that say, I don't think I would do that. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you're probably right. But pride blinds you to corrections, warnings, and wisdom. James chapter 4, verse 6 says, God resists the proud, but gives grace to the humble. And resist, that means oppose or to push against, to resist something. So I definitely don't want to be resisted. Like if you were moving towards something, the last person or the last thing I want resisting me is God. I want God on my side pushing me forward. So we've got to humble ourselves. Obadiah chapter 1 verse 3 says, the pride of your heart has deceived you. Pride lies. You're fine, you don't need to change, you don't need advice, you're better than them anyway, you deserve more. I don't need God as much as most people do. I'm a good person. All these things are forms of pride that we really have to be careful with. Proverbs 13 chapter 10 says, by pride comes nothing but strife. Pride is the reason arguments never get resolved. Pride makes a person defend themselves even when they know they're wrong. Pride destroys teachability. It shuts the door to growth. A humble person can be corrected, but a proud person would have to be broken first. Like Isaiah writes in chapter 14, verse 13 and 14, but not to read it all, but Satan said, I will exalt myself. There was 5 times there he said, I will. So pride turned an angel into the devil, into Satan, into Lucifer. Took down Lucifer. So if pride can take down Lucifer, imagine what it can do to me and you. So the opposite of pride is humility, and that's not weakness. That's not insecurity. I don't need to give an example, but humility. A lot of people think there's verses that talks about the meek, and the mild. That's not necessarily being timid or insecure or showing weakness or anything like that. I think it's the greatest humility I can see and respect is when somebody that probably is the best at whatever the subject is or whatever it is helping as many people as they can. They're not standing back beating their chests. I'm better than you. Humility says, Lord, I need you. Lord, correct me. Lord, lead me. Not my will, but yours be done. So the Lord lifts up the humble, he guides the humble, and he blesses the humble. Pride is dangerous, deceptive, and destructive, but humility brings life, blessing, peace, and the power of God. That's kind of all the notes I had on that, but we all have examples I'm sure we could think of pride in our life. And just going back to what I read there about it makes us defend ourselves, makes us defensive. That's something I've had to really pay attention to. Just use deer hunting for example. I've spent basically my entire life trying to be a better woodsman, trying to be a better deer hunter, trying to be a better turkey hunter, and it's all but been my life's mission. Like that's I sleep it, I dream it, I eat it, I love it. That's it. I'm not saying it comes before my family or anything like that, but if there's one thing I want to be good at, it's being a woodsman. And so I've dedicated myself to it, and there's things I see, that take for instance, a buck I shot a few years ago that I had 6 years, or probably say 6 years to be on the safe side, 6 years of history with this deer. And he had gone downhill just a little bit. He was probably 8 or 9 years old. And take him to the check station, and the biologist, they pulled a jawbone, and the biologist tells me, "Yo, that's a pretty nice 3.5-year-old." I'm like, "Yeah, you're crazy." But I think anybody that's spent as much time in the woods as I have knows the majority of biologists don't really have a clue. But it would be easy for me to just go off and be super defensive and everything else. Even with posts on Facebook and stuff, I'll post a picture of a deer that I've had for 7 years or whatever it is, and the Facebook biologist to say something about it. Deer don't even live past 5.5. Blah blah blah. Something off the wall. And it doesn't do any good to argue. It doesn't do any good to try to prove I know better. Any of that stuff. So I just got to sit back and be quiet and let the professionals talk. But there's instances daily for me that I just have to bite my tongue and not let my pride, or not show pride, I guess would be the right way to say that. God, I'm fortunate. God has really blessed me. I'm busier than I want to be now, but it's kind of hard to complain about that. But just the life I get to live, I've been blessed. God blessed me with being good with my hands, so I can build things or taxidermy or whatever I do with my hands. I'm above average at doing it. So it would be easy for me to be prideful about a lot of different things. But the Bible definitely warns about it, and it's something I have to think about daily. and now that I'm not going to say a public figure, but more in the public eye than I used to be, I definitely don't mind controversy, and I don't mind stirring the pot a little bit, but I'm not gonna let my pride get in there to where I just argue with people and things like that. But that's basically all I wanted to talk about. I thought maybe if it was something I deal with, it would be something that would be useful to somebody else, or at least think about. As Christians, we got to try to be humble. And again, that doesn't mean weak. Any of y'all that's been hunting, I hope you've been having some luck. We had a good week of hunting, and well, actually, my phone's sitting here dinging now with the cell cameras going off. I think I've had more bucks on camera today than I've had in the past 24 hours than I've had in years. It's been crazy today, but nothing too big, but a bunch of male deer. But anyway, till next time, thanks for joining me. We'll see you on the next one.